I think Hezbollah had a funeral and they said, these are our people and we're going to strike back.
Yeah, Hezbollah is a government of a country. Hamas is a government of Gaza.
I don't think
The
Hezbollah...
fact that the United States and Canada get to name them terrorists is called violence. That's called imperialism, and it's called racism.
What do you think of Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it shows who Kamala Harris is. She's the warmongering president. It's horrible.
Do you have
See her embrace war and then watch women flock to her is very hard to watch as a feminist. Very hard to watch as a feminist.
Tell me a little bit about Code Pink and what are you here to say?
Well, hi, I'm Jodie. I'm from Code Pink. I'm one of the co-founders. And we're here, smack in the middle of where UN visitors are walking because there's not really a conversation about Gaza. And this is UN week, UN Climate Week, but war's the greatest contributor to climate change, and we're not hearing it on any of the stages. So we're here to bring the message, to disrupt in certain audiences, to be out in front of the UN saying, war is not green. Where's that conversation happening here?
You seem very charming, but I want to ask you some tough questions. Is that okay? Or
Love tough questions.
are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. My first question is, I remember when Code Pink was very strong, when you had an enormous turnout all the time, a lot of media coverage, and that was when George W. Bush was president. That's the global war on terror you're talking about. But as soon as Barack Obama and the Democrats took over and increased the number of drone strikes and basically let loose all of Libya, regime change there, I couldn't help but observe that Code Pink, well, you certainly weren't as vigorous with the Democrats. You didn't have the same numbers.
Paying attention.
I was paying pretty close attention.
We disrupted Obama so much. We were all that was left of the war, of the anti-war movement. We disrupted Obama constantly. We had the only drone program was out of Code Pink. We had drone conferences. We called him out on his Kill Tuesdays. We went to Yemen. We went to Afghanistan. We brought drone victims to Congress to testify. He was droning people like 3,000 a month. We got it down to under 1,000 because of our pressure. So yes, when Obama got in, you watched everybody go silent, but not Code Pink. Right after he won, that November, we went to Afghanistan. I collected 4,000 signatures from women in Afghanistan that said, please don't escalate. I hand-delivered it to him, and he tried to get rid of me. I already called him out for the no good war, part. And then he patted me on the shoulder as patronizingly as he does and said, oh, we're not going to fix Afghanistan anytime soon. I said, you are never going to fix Afghanistan. Only the Afghan people can do that.
I think you're right. What do you think of Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it shows who Kamala Harris is. She's the warmongering president. It's horrible.
Do you have
See her embrace war and then watch women flock to her is very hard to watch as a feminist. Very hard to watch as a feminist.
Wow.
And not only that, the fact that she's the vice president and hasn't done anything about a genocide, isn't even speaking out, isn't speaking against Biden around a genocide. She doesn't understand that would galvanize people to her. Instead of she just looks, well, she's, the Manchurian candidate.
I want to ask you one more skeptical question, and thanks for answering them. I think
Those are not hard questions. Those are my faves.
Okay, good. I mean, I think answering challenging questions is the way to get the most interesting information. So you've mentioned genocide, and by that I presume you mean
Gaza. Yes, I mean Gaza, the genocide on the people of Palestine.
Now,
that has now moved to Lebanon.
Now,
which exposes the colonizing, imperialistic manner of this war that has more to do with racism and colonialism and apartheid than religions, which people get lost in.
So again, let me ask you the devil's advocate question. A skeptic would say, for example, the pager attack, those were pagers held by Hezbollah terrorists. Who
said they were Hezbollah terrorists?
Well, I think
I think it's the government of a country.
I think Hezbollah had a funeral and they said, these are our people and we're going to strike back.
Yeah, Hezbollah is a government of a country. Hamas is a government of Gaza.
I don't think
the
Hezbollah...
fact that the United States and Canada get to name them terrorists is called violence. That's called imperialism, and it's called racism.
I don't think
Because who kills more people than this country? We are terrorists. I think Martin Luther King said this is the most terrorist country in the world, and it remains so.
Wow. Well, those are some powerful thoughts. I have one last one for
Powerful thoughts.
you. Yeah.
It's like, it's not a thought. It's an observation.
I'm complimenting
about
you.
what's happening.
I'm complimenting you for your enthusiasm.
Too many people, and you look like your alternative media.
Sort of.
Too many people look at mainstream media and the lies they are fed, which we know are lies. We watch it happen. We watch the lies be exposed over and over and over again, and still people ingest it and parrot it. Can you believe being these people in Canada and America and Israel that think what we are watching in the media, alternative media, is okay? That is okay human behavior? That we have just watched state-sponsored terrorism, which is the blowing up of those pagers, indiscriminately killing people. Those pagers were in the pockets of doctors, and
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure. Yes.
Well, Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, who's not the head of Lebanon, I don't think, he really said that this was
the government of Lebanon.
I'd have to Google it but I don't think it's Nasrallah.
Okay, well.
I typed in leader of Lebanon in Google, and it says Michel Aoun, and he's with the Free Patriotic Movement. I'm just going from Google. The president of Lebanon, Michel Aoun, it doesn't look like he's with Hezbollah.
The governing structure of Lebanon is Hezbollah. Like, who's delivering services to the people? Check it out.
I have one last question for you, and you've been very generous with your time. A skeptic would say, even if you look at the worst case for the numbers of civilian casualties in Gaza, that although tragic, every civilian life loss is tragic, just in sheer numbers, it's smaller than other wars going on in the world right now, and that wars that have gone on for years, and yet where has Code Pink been on that? For example, Turkey versus the Kurds.
We've been there.
And I just feel like that. But where's your signs about that? And the Turks are here, but
here's what we do.
I think you focused on the Jews.
No, oh my God.
Well, you're not focusing on the Turks. You're not focusing on the Libyans. You're not focusing on the Iranians. You're not focusing on the Saudis or the Yemenites.
Focus on our government. So where is our government funding something is where we can affect. We can't affect Turkey. But we can only affect, we are U.S. citizens, we can only affect our own government. And by the way, on Yemen, I've been in the streets for 10 years on Yemen.
But I don't see any reference to Yemen here. Right, I see that you're focusing on the Jews.
The Jews?
Yeah, the Jews. You're not talking...
I'm in the streets with Jews, and by the way, I'm married to one, so, I mean,
But you're not, you're taking on the Jews, you're calling the Jews genociders, you're using that language of frankly, the Nazis against the Jews, but I don't see any language here about Yemen, Turkey, or any of the other countries I just mentioned.
You're around Gaza right now.
And I'm here, and I'm saying, isn't that a coincidence that you...
Because that's what our country is funding right now. Well, a very public genocide.
Turkey's a NATO ally of the United States. There's an American base in Turkey.
In D.C. around NATO. Trump. We were just in the streets in D.C. It's like you can't take it all on at once. If you want to be effective in your messaging, you need to speak to one thing at a time. How do you engage people in learning without focusing? And by the way, it's not Jews, it's Zionists.
And what's the difference between a Jew and a Zionist?
A lot.
I don't know the difference. There's Mount Zion. It's basically saying not all Italians are for Italy. I think pretty much all of them are. What Jew wouldn't be for?
What did you just say?
Pretty much all Italians are for Italy. If there was an Italian who said, no, I'm Italian, but I don't believe in Italy, you'd say that doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you that Zionism is the core of Judaism. And
so you need to get some education.
I went to Jewish school till I was in grade.
Okay, so Zionism was a creation of imperialism.
It was actually mentioned in the Bible. That's where the word comes from.
Not the Zionism being practiced right now.
Zionism believes in the Jewish homeland in the land of the Bible.
The Zionism that is being practiced right now as an imperialist project in Israel is not. If that is your religion, I'm sorry for you.
Well, thanks for your pity, but how can it?
I actually have. I've actually studied. I was in a relationship with a rabbi. Zionism has nothing to do with the values of being Jewish. And if
it's the Jewish home.
You need to go back and study.
So whose land is it? Who predates the Jews there?
All the land belongs to the people. The fact that we separate it and pretend to own it is its own crime and disease.
But just in terms of first in right.
Nobody owns the land.
Well, then,
the land is given to the people. We
Which
are
people?
All the people. What are we separating ourselves from each other?
Well,
that doesn't work.
The Jews were there for.
I'm a peace activist.
The Jews were there for millennia, before Islam was even created. So how can Jews be imperialists in their own country?
Native Americans were here for millennia too. We're going to give this to the I'd love to give this to the Native Americans if you're for that.
I don't believe you would, because you haven't done anything in that regard.
I have done that.
What have you done?
I've given my land to the Native Americans.
I think you're making things up now.
I didn't know. You want to go check it out?
No, really.
Okay.
What do you think about some of the mottos I've heard chanted at Columbia and in Canada? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What do you think of that chant?
I think that is the dream that the Israelis will become Jewish and practice their religion, and that everyone in the land of Palestine will be free.
I don't think that's what it means. I think it means to remove the Jews from Israel.
I don't think that's what it means.
And how about there is only one solution, intifada revolution? What do you think that means?
I don't know what
You don't know what intifada means? You're a peace activist. You don't know what you're here protesting against Israel.
I know what intifada means in the sense in Islam.
And what does it mean?
It's an internal practice.
I don't think it is. I think you're confusing that with jihad.
A Muslim here? No. Okay, I'm more schooled in being Jewish than being Muslim, so I can't really talk about it.
Yeah, no worries. Listen, I really appreciate you being generous with your time, and I disagree with pretty much everything you said, but you said it with passion and belief, and you said it non-violently, and so I guess points for that.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
To learn more about our trip to New York and the other things we've done, go to rebelfieldreports.com.